to No Movies in Hell. I'm Chris Geiger.
I'm a claw Scott. My earphones are falling out. And today we are reviewing Decision to Leave.
Park Chan-wook.
Yes.
I haven't seen anything from him recently, although I know he's done stuff recently. So I feel bad about that. It makes me want to go back and check out his other stuff. But I did see the trilogy, the Revenge trilogy, a long time ago, which is amazing and action-packed. And, you know, it is not what I expect. This movie is not what I expected based on the Revenge trilogy. It was much quieter, much more like emotion coming to the surface, but not really bubbling over, right? It was a lot of internal struggle, repressed feelings, which is not what I was expecting going in. I don't know. Like, have you seen his other stuff? How did you feel going into it? Were you expecting this?
I've seen the trailer, I think, once in the last couple months. I am a fan. However, I think the only thing that I've watched is Old Boy. So I didn't see the trilogy. I just saw Old Boy back in early 2000s.
Okay.
So I didn't know what to expect because the trailer's kind of cut in a very it's a mood in a very different way. And of course, the whole film is a mood. So it was, I would have to say that I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw, but it's just, there's a lot of complex emotions and a lot of complex dealings that nothing is very straightforward. It's these journeys, and even conveying the storytelling kind of weaves in and out of certain themes and how and in communication. But I really love the way that everything was portrayed in a very thoughtful manner, even down to, I know I'm probably skipping ahead, down to like the terrible texting from the guy who's like the finance guy who's kind of like leveraging and very like showy in terms of money, but reading the subtitles and seeing the text, I was like, I just started bursting out laughing.
I definitely think I want to see this again because I didn't give enough attention to the visuals because I was busy reading the text. There was so much text.
Yes.
Maybe I'm a slow reader, but it did take me a while. Sometimes like the scene's progressing and I'm still reading.
Oh, yeah. And then on top of it, there's another language translation because it's either Mandarin when the woman, she is of Chinese descent, but she lives in South Korea. So like there's a language barrier. And I think there might have been another language barrier in terms of the subtlety of what we're seeing, because some of the parts where she's listening to a voicemail or like a recording, and I'm like, maybe there's something like I'm not catching, the part where it's like, oh, tell me when you told me you loved me, and I'm like, did he?
Right, because Korean is not her first language. When she would say things, it would be awkwardly phrased and it would be awkwardly written. And so as I was reading, I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that word. Like, and it would sort of stop you from like just racing across the text.
Yeah.
So I definitely think I want to see it again. Now that I know what happens, I can pay more attention to the visuals because the visuals were awesome. Like when he is looking down from the top of that sort of climb.
Yes.
So he's seeing what the dead man's seeing at that point. And he's seeing what the dead man saw right before.
Yes.
Right. So it's looking from both perspectives. I thought that was a really good visual that I wanted to take in more. The misty sort of scenes.
Oh yeah. The fog it's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. I'm like, where was this shot? Explaining that his character has insomnia because he can't solve these murders, and then he's placing himself into the scenes where the suspect, and trying to figure out what's going on or have a feel for things. So I mean, I felt like that was very much his downfall of like separation of, him trying to be in the moment and try to understand what's happening. But then it was manipulation of, this person has a gain. I mean, it comes out in the second act. He just loses the color in him. It's almost like he's a shell of a person trying to move on with his life, but knowing that, like, something terrible has happened, tampered with evidence, so to speak.
Right. He allowed himself to be
Hmm.
manipulated. I'm sorry that it's not getting more screen real estate than it is,
Yeah.
which is surprising because I mean he did win Best Director again, so I feel like he would have gotten it would have gotten a wider release
Yeah.
here.
Maybe it'll get re-released.
Maybe.
Um, if it's a festival, so it's probably up for Oscar contention. So it'll probably be at some smaller theaters like IFC or Angelica, or like one screen at, one or two screens at some AMCs. Yeah, I can see people going back to see this because the first act is pretty long and the second act is pretty short, but it's a lot to think about.
It is. When the whole Slappy character came in, I was like, what is happening right
Yes.
now?
I was like, oh,
And
uh,
and then I was like questioning, like, am I reading these subtitles correctly? Because then I don't know what's happening right now.
hmm.
But then it finally fell into place. So I was like, okay, okay, okay. But yeah, there were definitely moments where I was questioning, like, I'm gonna need to see that again.
Yeah. Am I understanding this correctly? What's going to happen? Yeah, I just felt like some things quickly dropped off and then other things picked up. And then I was like, did I miss something here? It might be another rewatch for me, but I think I might be good.
I was also interested in like the side police characters.
Yes, like his partner and the woman who also worked at the police station with whom she was supposed to take photos and stuff. And like she was like a couple seconds late and was just kind of like, whatever. It was great. It was just like the partner got stabbed and it was just like he just left. And then in act two, the other partner, she had so many questions and like was on it and everything. And he was just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, for sure, the some of the funniest parts of the movie involved his police work, right? Where they're climbing the cliff on that
Yeah.
animated thing. Like,
Yes.
I understand if you're the detective and you want to do that, but why do you have to have that other guy strapped to your back?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
when you just send him up on the second route, like, I'm gonna send this back down. You come up next.
Yeah,
One
there
of
were
the
some funny moments.
and the turtle scene where they
Yes.
like they capture the turtle theft.
Oh my gosh, I think
Yeah.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, it's like, was his wife like subtly influenced by those types of like that thing, and hence why the turtle incident happened? And were these things kind of premeditated for him to go to the next city and to have these experiences, and then he ends up seeing the woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go to the slides. 25, I gave it total. Acting was great. Cinematography was great. What I
It's
saw of
phenomenal.
it.
Like some of those shots, I was just like, how did they do? There was one shot in the beginning, I think maybe he was either on his phone or there was something that like kind of popped out, and I was like, wow, I've never really seen that done before.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Costumes were okay.
Hmm.
Costumes were as expected. Hair and makeup, you give it a 3. I give it a 2.
Yeah, I think the second act for me, when it came to it was almost like the woman uh from the first act, completely different person. Like she looks different, she acts different. I thought they did a really good job of kind of like trying to bifurcate and make her a little more sophisticated because I think it's like a year later.
Yeah.
Um, and she kind of just gets a little more upscaled. And I thought they did a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, definitely. There were some scenes in the first part where she was a nurse, and I thought, she's dressed really nicely for a nurse.
Yeah.
Like she went to when she goes to the police station, she's wearing like a satin skirt.
Yeah.
Like, did you just come from work? Because that's how it seemed like in the movie. Like he comes to work, like where she works, and says, "You need to come to the police station." And then the next scene is they're in the police station. So it seems like she went straight there. But anyway, jewelry, I gave a 3 because of their Apple Watches.
Ah,
They
okay.
were such a big part of the story is that
Yeah.
they were making those recordings. And then there were a number of like scenes where they featured prominently his wedding ring. Like you
Hmm.
could see him driving, and his wedding ring is right there in front of like the dashboard while he's driving to see her. You gave production quality a 3. I give it a 2. So we're
I
off
did.
there.
I thought the apartment that she lived in was like beautiful. It was just like super nice. His like apartment in that city was just really cool. I just thought that it was like the police station didn't really look like a police station. Things look very nice and orderly. And even like the nursing home, a regular, like it just I thought it was really well done in terms of like what they did with production. And then when they went to the mountain and it was snowy and it was nice. I
Yeah.
liked it. I liked it.
Yeah, it was great. Reader's Choice, I give it a 3, although I would tell people like if I were recommending it, like it's not like his other movies. If you were
Hmm.
going expecting that, don't. Story 3, soundtrack, special effects are the same.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to plug in this episode?
I have nothing to plug, sadly. Do you have anything to plug, Chris?
So this was an iHeart Korean Movies movie.
Mhm.
And we did have one person attend from the group.
Yay!
His name is Dave, and this is his first meetup that he's ever come to. So that was nice. It was interesting that this movie did not come out first in Times Square, which is where they usually do their foreign language screenings. It came out first in Kips Bay.
Oh, interesting.
And that Blackpink movie came out only in Kips Bay. And there's a movie right now that they're doing for a Korean boy band called
Hmm.
Astro over at 34th Street on the west side.
Hmm.
And I couldn't figure out why they weren't showing that Times Square either. I think it's because of Koreatown.
Okay. It's
Koreatown loves
closer in
34th Street.
proximity to.
Yeah. So they're programming it that way. So I would like to give a shout out to Kips Bay and 34th Street West Side AMC for their Korean language programming.
Yay!
Because they don't have as many screens, but they do seem to be making an effort on that front. And I would also like to give a shout out to Papa for making this lovely sweater that I'm wearing.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thanks.